Well, welcome to all of you. We are going to get started. Let's start in on our backs in Supta Baddha Konasana, which is reclined bound angle pose. So starting on your mat, start with the bottoms of your feet together and let the knees fall out wide. Now this is right away getting into a nice little hip opener. I want to get our hips moving because we're going to be opening them a lot during class. So in this posture, if it's too deep for you to have your knees all the way wide, like that, so your knees are out to the sides as you recline back, you can always put your blocks or pillows underneath the knees if you're just starting to kind of work your way open. But if you want to let gravity take its toll and pull on your knees and open your hips, then just go ahead, put the bottoms of the feet together. The closer your feet are to you, the deeper this will be, the further out a little bit lighter. So as you recline back, close your eyes for a moment as we just begin to let the hips open. You can take your hands and rest them on your low belly. Tuck your chin slightly to your chest. Maybe spread your shoulder blades apart and allow your spine to relax along the mat. Begin to take some nice deep breaths in through the nose, filling up to the chest and the belly. Once you're to the top of those breaths, open the mouth and exhale, release and let go. Continue to breathe like that, sealing the lips on the inhale. When you're to the top, open the mouth, exhale through the mouth, let go, relax, release. Getting oxygen into our bloodstream, taking these nice deep breaths. It's going to allow the blood and the oxygen to flow to the spaces that are tight and begin to open them already. Getting as much oxygen into our system, preparing for your stretching, flexibility. As your hands are resting on the low belly, notice when you take breaths in, notice the belly rise and expand. Those are those nice, deep belly breaths. And anytime you open the mouth to exhale, feel everything collapse in and down, releasing stale, old, anything that doesn't serve you, let it go here. You might be noticing your hips opening a little bit more at a time. We tend to hold a lot in our hips, emotional. As women, we hold a lot in our hips, and as men, they tend to hold more in the shoulders. So maybe you find tightness and tension in one or the other a little deeper. So wherever you are, breathe into that space and notice where your tightness is. We're going to open all that up today. Let's take 2 more full breaths. Big inhales through the nose, filling all the way up. Big expansive breaths. Then exhaling out through the mouth, letting go, collapsing down, pressing out all the air. One more just like that. This time when you take a deep breath in through the nose, once you reach the top, hold it for a moment. Try and sip in 1 more ounce of air. Open the mouth, exhale, release, let go. Good. Breathing normally here. Take your hands to the outside of your knees. Close your legs together like a book. Keep the knees bent. Feet are flat on the floor. Bring your right knee into your chest. Keep the back of the head on the mat. Clasp your hands around the front of the shin or the back of the thigh. And pull that knee in towards the armpit. Keep your chin tucked back of the head on the floor. As you're sitting here, roll out your ankle. Keep the left knee bent for now, right knee's pulling in. Good. From here, single happy baby, single leg. Take your hand to the outside of the right foot. You can stay here. If it's too much, grab for the ankle or the back of the thigh with the right hand. Staying here, pulling that foot down so the knee's coming down towards your mat. Single leg happy baby. If you want a little more, straighten the left leg down. That's going to take you even deeper. Maybe you go slightly down, building flexibility. We take things slowly, see where we can go. When things are feeling too tight, We just listen a little bit and we move slowly. So as you're here, bending that knee up, staying right there, or straightening it down and pressing the back of the leg in. Pull the right knee down. Now, next layer, if you want to go a little deeper, you can start to straighten the right leg. If you want, you could use a strap here. If you want to get a little more length, you could put it on the bottom of the foot. Again, there's different layers you could be in. Your knee could still be bent. Both knees could be bent. One leg straight or both legs straight. Sitting here, remember to breathe. Pulling your shin towards your nose, keeping the back of the head on the mat. Breathe through any tightness. Staying here, pull a little deeper for 4, 3, 2, go ahead and release, bend both knees, both feet flat on the mat. Switching out, pull the left knee in this time. Right knee stays bent, right foot on the floor. Pulling that knee in towards the armpit, starting here, feeling that hip opener. Roll out the left ankle one way, then the other. Good, single leg, happy baby, same thing. Take your left hand, grab for either the bottom of the foot, pulling the knee down. You can grab for your ankle or the back of the thigh. Right knee is still bent for now. We're slowly working into this flexibility. Breathing here, pulling down. Your next layer would be to straighten that right leg down. See if you can go here. And notice this side. Does this side feel a little more tense, a little more tight? Maybe it feels more open, but you're going to feel that through the right hip flexor and the left back of the thigh. If you want your next level, go ahead and straighten the left leg with the right leg straightened. Remember your layers here. You don't have to be here. Make sure the back of the head is down. We don't want to be up here if we want to straighten the leg. We're building flexibility, so slowly straightening. If you can't straighten all the way, that's completely fine. That's what we're working through. We're building that flexibility through the back side, posterior chain. Again, remember your layers. You can be both knees bent. You can be one leg straight, then the other. All layers you can take. Staying here, continuing to breathe. Another deep breath in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. Go here for 4, just 3. Coming up for 2. And on the 1, go ahead and release both. Go ahead and bend your right leg up. Release your foot. Bring both knees in toward the chest, back of the head still on the mat. Pull the knees apart toward the armpits. Keep the tailbone rolling down towards your mat. Maybe you rock a little bit slightly, giving a little low back massage. Moving into double happy baby. Grab for the bottoms of both feet this time. Roll that tailbone down. Keep the knees bent. If you can't grab the feet, go for the ankles or the backs of the thighs. Wherever you are, pulling down towards the earth as you keep the tailbone, trying to be flattened toward the earth and the back of the head on the mat. This is again, right now, if you want to straighten one leg and then the other, or just one at a time, and then start to pull your legs apart. These are all options you can go into. Just make sure you're rolling the tailbone down. We want the spine nice and flat. Feel all that inner thigh opener. Building up our flexibility. Releasing tension. Big deep breath in. Maybe a little deeper on the exhale. Go ahead and release the bottom of the feet. Tuck both knees in and begin to rock and roll along the spine 3, 4 times. Just aligning the spine here, feeling nice until you come all the way up to a seated position. Once you're in a seated position, bring your legs out wide. We've been setting up the inner thighs to move into this space. Flex both feet. Anytime we're working on flexibility, there's so many things involved. We're going to be going forward towards the earth. But the first thing is you want to think of keeping that spine nice and long. Think of the shoulders rolling down and back, chest pressing forward. Feet are staying flexed, protecting the knees and building flexibility. We're working on the inner thighs. As you come forward, maybe your hands stay here. If you want to walk forward and continue, just keep walking the hands forward. I'm going to show you from the side because I want to make sure you're thinking of your spine in this. A lot of us tend to be here, trying to reach forward, and we're not doing anything. We're just arching the spine, maybe straining the neck even. So I want you to sit up tall and chest presses out, and then you start to roll forward. Notice my spine doesn't curve forward at all. My spine is staying flat. The only time you'll start to let your head come down is if you can move into a full pancake pose and the chest meets the earth. Then your forehead can rest. So find your layer. Maybe you're here, hands are out in front of you. You could always put a block underneath your elbows here if you wanted to. Just make sure that spine is flat and long. No arching of the spine. Gaze follows the hands. Feet are staying flexed, legs are nice and wide. As you're here, start to notice the inner thighs releasing. If you're feeling a lot of tension, I want you to take nice deep breaths in through the nose. And on the exhale, maybe you go a little deeper and relax. See where you can go. Again, if you come all the way down, that's when you're allowed to let the head rest. Coming all the way down means the chest is on the earth, the torso's down. The more you do these, the deeper you'll begin to go. I want you to stay for 3 more deep breaths. Full inhales, full exhales is 1 full breath. Every time you're exhaling, see if you can release yourself down a little deeper. Where can you go? 1 last breath here, nice and slow, nice and deep. Staying for your final exhale here. And when you're ready on your next inhale, wherever you are, go ahead and sit back up straight. Nice long spine. Bring your feet together like we did at the beginning of class. Knees come out wide. So now we're just in bound angle pose. We're not going to recline like we were at the beginning of class. Take your hands and grab for your feet. Wrap your hands around your toes or feet. Now, same thing. Notice my spine is long and tall. We're not arching forward. Nice long spine. Knees are wide. Again, if your feet are further from you, it's going to be a little easier to come forward. So maybe you want to start with your feet out farther and you can work your way down. If you're sitting up tall, you have a little more flexibility. Pull the heels in towards your groin and begin to pull. Same thing, chest towards the earth, towards their feet. Again, notice I'm not arching and pulling down like this to try and reach. Pull your chest down, pull the torso down. If you can, get your forehead to the mat. That's where you can release and relax. Now, if you're up here, maybe your feet are out. Pulling your feet in slightly towards you a little at a time, keeping the back straight, and start to feel that opening on your inner thighs and inside your hip joints. Maybe your forearms can rest on your shins. Keeping your spine long, all the way up from the top of the head to the tailbone. Always when you're stretching, remember to breathe. We're going to get into some nice deep stretches here. So listen to your body and see what layer and what level you can go to. As you're here, I want 3 more deep breaths. Every time you inhale, maybe you come up slightly, making space for the breath. And as you exhale, go a little deeper than where you just were. See what layer you can get into. Give me 1 more big deep breath in when you're there. And on that exhale, pull yourself a little deeper. And on your next inhale, slowly come up. Bring your knees together. You can use your hands on the outside, feet flat on the mat. Bring your hands behind you. Take your feet to the outer edges. Broken bridge pose. Let your knees fall in, left to right. Maybe you wobble back and forth. Or you can just simply let them fall in toward one another. Giving those inner thighs a little moment before we continue to move on. Good. Coming back up, crisscross your legs, come up to all fours. Gonna continue on the inner thigh openers. Option for a block or pillow here if you need something to rest on. We're gonna start coming up on the knees. Right knee's gonna take the weight, left leg's going out long. So notice my right toes are tucked under. You can have them tucked or untucked. Sitting up nice and tall, notice my spine from the side. I'm just gonna move over to the front so you can see. Now think of your foot being flat on the mat. You have your ankle out, right in alignment with that left hip. Start to slide a little bit. See how deep you can go. Stop when you can't go any further, and then start to come forward to your palms. Your right foot's gonna kind of come down and in that heel, so the arch of your right foot's down. Try and keep the left foot flat. Now you don't want to be way forward. Make sure that the ankle, hip, and knees stay in alignment. Maybe you go a little deeper. Right foot is flexed, the arch of the right foot is down like a frog leg. Feel the inner thigh stretch. Finding that flexibility and opening. Remember breath. Two more deep breaths. See if you can go a little deeper on the exhales. Good breath. Good. When you're ready, begin to come back up. Take your time here. And to come back to onto your knees. Toes can be tucked to start. Meet me up here. Same thing on the other side. Take your right leg out to the side, starting here. And maybe this is where you start and you stay. You're working on that inner thigh, so see how your flexibility is feeling before you continue to go deeper. Remember that right foot, toes are face forward, bottom of the foot's down. Back toes can be tucked on the left side or untucked. And then you're gonna start to slide. You can come down to balance yourself, or you can have blocks or a pillow here. And then eventually that left foot's gonna roll over and open like a frog foot. Left knee is bent. Keep the hips in alignment with the knee and the ankle. It's where the flexibility is being made on those inner thighs. These stretches that we're doing today are great ways to get into your splits eventually. Remember to keep the left foot flexed. Deep breaths in through the nose. On the exhales, maybe you slide a little deeper, even if it's just a millimeter, but be sure you're listening to your body. You don't want to be in pain here. You're going to feel uncomfortable. And anytime you're getting in these stretches, you want to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's where you make the changes, when you go to that next little millimeter, next little piece of depth that you can get towards. One more breath. Staying all the way for your exhale. And slowly begin to pull yourself out. Meet me on all fours. When you're on all fours, we're going to do a full frog pose. So this time, take your knees, go wider than the mat. Same thing, your heels are going to fall in. So both knees are staying bent. Notice where my hips are. They're in alignment with my knees. We're not way up here. Stay in alignment, pushing the hips back. And slowly just begin to let the knees slide away from each other. Letting your gravity pull down through your pelvis. Think of a frog. When you look back at your legs, they're bent about 90 degrees or less. If you want to go a little deeper, you can come to your forearms. Just make sure you're not shifting forward. Keep the hips in alignment. And then if you want to come down to your chest, these are all layers you can get into. Again, you don't have to be here. I want you to think of slowly beginning to open inner thighs, stretching muscles, and we're getting deep into your fascia. Fascia is the connection between muscle and tendon and bone, everything in there, pulling apart and getting malleable. Deep breaths in. Open mouth, exhales. One more deep breath in here. And see if you can go a little deeper on your exhale. When you feel ready, if you're down on your chest, bring your palms underneath the shoulders, press yourself up. Bring your heels in towards one another and sit back is usually the easiest way to come out. And then bring your knees together. Go ahead and sit on back. Bring the legs out, bend the knees, feet flat. Same thing, bring the feet out towards the edges of the mat. Broken bridge pose. And then just let the knees fall in and out towards one another. We're gonna move away from the hips here. Don't worry, I know your hips are getting some nice deep opening. We're gonna move into our toes and ankles, which are often the forgotten children, right? They do a lot for us and we forget about them. All right, go ahead and cross the legs, come back to all fours. I'm gonna give you options here. If you've taken my class, you know all about toe openers. Keep the toes tucked under. Sit your hips back to your heels. You can stay here, make sure all 10 toes are tucked, knees are together. If you wanna go a little further, go ahead and sit back and put all your weight onto your heels. If you want a little less and sit up, you can put a block or a pillow underneath the glutes on top of your calves. Sitting right here, sit up nice and tall, shoulders down and back. You're gonna feel your toes ignite right away. This is something you can build up to. If you need to come off them for a second, you can, release and then sit back. See how long you can stay though. What we're doing is cutting circulation off from the toes. And when we come out of this posture, the blood will flow through, helping the circulatory system push out anything old and static in those toes, making room for the fresh and the new. Take some nice deep breaths as you sit here. You can close your eyes for a moment. Keep your hands in prayer position or on your thighs. Let yourself be in the moment. Take note of how your body's feeling. And breathe. Got 2 more breaths here. I know you're feeling it. Try not to clench your face or jaw, relax. Let gravity do its work. We're gonna get a great stretch here in a moment. It's gonna give you an opposite stretch. Go ahead and come forward, back to all fours if you're not already there. Untuck the toes, tap the tops of the feet on the mat. Tapping the tops of the feet, letting that blood flow down there. You should feel a nice release. Keeping the knees together, stay on the tops of the feet, sit your hips back onto your heels. You can stay right here. This is just a nice ankle stretch. Toes are flat, tops of the feet are down. If you want more, lean on back to your hands. Sitting on your heels. If you want even more, lift those knees up and feel that stretch on your ankles. You can bring your hands to your knees here. Find balance if you want. And if you want to go even further, bring your hands down and tuck your chin and your knees together, keeping those toes tucked under. Breathe for 4, just 3. Feeling that deep stretch for 2. Exhale on the one, bring your knees down if they're up. Slowly bring yourself forward. Come back to all fours. Lift your ankles, roll them out. Point and flex the toes. Give yourself that release. Again, you should feel the blood flow down. We're going to go through that one more time. I want you to see how your toes are beginning to feel. Tuck those toes underneath. Sit your hips back. Maybe you feel you're good here. If you want to go to your next layer, sit up nice and tall. Shoulders down and back so we're not straining through the neck. Again, if that's too much but you want to be upright, you can put a pillow or a block underneath that takes a little pressure off. If not, sitting up nice and tall, feel gravity pulling on your body down onto the toes. Breathe. Close your eyes. You can rest your hands on your lap or keep them in prayer position. Let nature take its course through your body, allowing the blood to flow, and then feeling where it's stopping right at your toes. So when we release, you're going to feel that flush. Feels so good. Give me one more nice deep breath in through the nose. Fill up the belly, fill up the chest, all the way to the top. Open mouth, exhale, let go. Go ahead and come forward to all fours. Slowly untuck the toes, bend them, and tap the tops of the feet. Feel that blood flush through. Gonna get the opposite stretch going. Feet are together, sit your hips back to your knees or to your heels. You can sit here like so. Or if you want that next layer, lean back. Knees can come up. You can bring balance and bring your hands to your knees. If you want to go all the way, bring those knees towards the nose. We're just here for 4, 3, 2. Slowly come down with control on the 1. Bring yourself forward. Slowly back to all fours is where we'll meet. Roll out the ankles. Point and flex. Good. Moving right along. Got some nice ankle and toes, and we're going to move on to the spine for a little bit of back bends. I'm going to give you lots of options. Have a block nearby. If you're working on your flexibility, we're going to be going into some different back bends, but a block will be helpful if you're trying to go to your next level. If you don't have a block, completely fine. I will show you all different options. So let's begin by shifting forward, coming all the way down to our belly into Sphinx pose. Sphinx pose, we're on our forearms. Palms are nice and wide. Elbows are stacked over shoulders are stacked over the elbows. Tops of the feet are on the mat, slightly spread apart. Gaze is forward. Your torso is on the mat, your chest is risen up. Now, kind of start to pull through your hands as your chest is pulling through the biceps. Just feel that little back release. You're not lifting up or anything, you're just simply pulling through the hands. Feeling a little stretch. If you want to go deeper here, press yourself up to more of a seal pose. Staying right here. Anytime you're in these postures, make sure that your front of your pelvis is down. The low belly is down, but you're just starting to come up right below the ribs is where you're going to feel a bend. Now, if you want more, you can bend both knees and gaze up, letting your head fall back. Remember to breathe. Try not to let the shoulders creep up like that. That's just going to strain the neck. Shoulders down and back. Feel that opening. 4, 3, 2. On the 1, release the knees down. Come back down. Right cheek to the mat. Bring your hands by your sides. Bend the knees and let them fall left to right to your feet. Low back release. Good. Moving in to the next layer. Go ahead and bring the tops of the feet back down to the mat. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. So this time we're going to go to the next level. You're welcome to stay at Sphinx again, or your first seal pose. If you want to go even further, keep the hands underneath the shoulders and press yourself all the way up. Keep the pelvis down. If your pelvis is coming off the mat, you want to shoulders down and back. Try not to lift the shoulders to the ears. Tops of the feet are pressing into the mat. Feel this nice little bend, back bend. Gravity pulling on the pelvis. Gaze is slightly ahead, maybe even down. We're gonna get a little twist here if it feels okay on your spine. Bring your left heel towards your glute. Right palm takes the weight, left hand reaches back to twist open. Pull that foot down, whatever level you can get to. Twist back and look over the left shoulder. You might feel a little snap, crackle, pop. Make sure the right leg's staying long, the right palm's taking the weight. And if you want a deeper stretch, you can even press harder through that foot, top of the foot towards the glute. You might be back here, or you could use a strap and you're just twisting. So you can find whatever layer works. You can do this from Sphinx pose. You don't have to be up on your palm. If you're in Sphinx pose, you're here twisting, completely fine. Might be a little easier on your spine. So find what layer works for you. And we're going to slowly unwind, release the foot back down. Come back to center, come to Sphinx first, reset. Set yourself nice and tall. Come down. If you want to go all the way up to your palms, put the palms underneath the shoulders, press yourself back up. Remember, shoulders, we don't want them here, we want them down and back. Elongate the spine. Feel that nice front body opener, nice back bend on the posterior chain. Go ahead and kick the right heel to the glute. Twist back, reach for that right foot, and twist open. If you want to get a little more, press the top of your foot down, heel to glute. Again, you could be in Sphinx pose for this, so you could be on the forearm, twisting open. You don't have to press on the foot, that's just an extra opener for your quadriceps. When you can get more than one muscle being flexed at the same time, I try and go for it, but you can always work through point by point. See if you can press just a little deeper. Big breath in. Stay for the exhale. Go ahead and release that foot with control. Bring yourself back down to the mat, hands by the sides, left cheek to the mat. You're here, bend the knees if you want. You can do a little bit of rocking left to right to release the low back. Good. Bring the tops of your feet back down to the mat for a moment. Gaze is going to go forward, chin onto the floor. Now both heels are coming towards the glutes and you're reaching for the tops of the feet. This might be where you stay. If you want to go a little further, press the tops of your feet into your hands, pulling the torso up, finding bow pose. If you want to go even further, you're going to try and get your thighs and the belly off, the upper belly off the mat. Pressing. Trying to get your toes toward the ceiling for 4. Lift high for 3. Try and squeeze the knees together for 2. With control, come down on the 1. Right cheek to mat, hands by your sides. Release for a moment. If you want, you can bend the knees and let them fall. Feet left to right. Good. We're going to do that one more time. Bring your gaze forward to start. Straighten the legs for a moment. Now kick the heels towards the glutes. Same thing, reach for your feet, ankles, whatever's accessible. Knees together to start. Start to press into your hands. If you want to go a little further, lift the thighs. And even further, chest comes up. For 4, 3, 2, cheek to mat, relax onto your chest, down, breathe. Deep breaths in through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Come up to all fours and back to child's pose. Once you're in child's pose, big toes to touch, knees are wide, hands are reaching forward. Those hips are sitting to the heels, let your forehead rest. You can massage your head left to right. You're gonna feel a nice low back release from those back bends. Find 2 breaths here. One more deep breath. And exhale it out. Good. Shift yourself back up to all fours. We're gonna work through puppy pose. So puppy pose, there's a bunch of different ways to get into it. I'm gonna show you the easiest way, and then I'll give you an option later on if you wanna try and get into it, you can. So sitting on all fours, puppy pose is you're bringing your hands forward. And notice as my hands are going forward, my chest is coming down. Chin is on the mat. Now, if this is no good for your neck, if you have neck issues, bring your forehead to the mat. Keep your hips high. As you're here, if you want to go further, you can. Tuck your toes, and you're going to press and straighten your legs. And then there you are. Gaze stays forward, chin is on the mat. That's your full puppy. Breathe. Your low back has gotten prepped for this, your mid back. You've got 4, 3, 2. If your knees are up, drop them down. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press back, child's pose for the rest. Forehead to the mat. Feel that release. Take 2 deep breaths here. Open mouth, exhales. Now I'm going to show you how to go a little deeper in this. You can continue to do the layer I just showed you, or if you want to try something new. If you have neck problems, I would not do this. This next one, we're going to use the block, or you could use a book or something that's going to lift you, that's solid. And you can use any layer of the block if you want to go higher or lower. Depends on your flexibility and your spine. This is a big thoracic, mid-back, and low back opener. So we're going to do the same thing. Start on your knees, shift yourself forward. And again, you can stay here, maybe your forehead is down, or you can press to your chest. Now, as you're coming forward, get the block underneath the chin and the chest is down. Dig your palms in. You can stay here or begin to straighten those legs again. Chest is supporting you. You don't want to have a lot of neck pressure. So the chest is supporting you, keeping the spine bending. You've got 4, 3, 2, knees down on the 1, palms underneath the shoulders, press back, child's pose. Tuck your chin into your chest in your child's pose, forehead on the mat. I want you to feel that low back, mid back release. Again, these are just layers. I teach to all levels, so make sure you take the layer that works for you. And these are things that you can build up to as well. Good. When you're ready, shift yourself back to all fours. You can move your block out of the way. Tuck your toes, press your hips high, find your down dog. Pedal the heels and feel the backs of the legs opening. Anytime you're in a down dog, if you're coming from all fours, think of the palms underneath the shoulders and the hips over the knees. Keep the toes tucked, press the hips up and back, heels down, biceps frame the ears. Gaze is back, head hangs heavy, no tension in the neck. Maybe you look left to right, shaking your head yes and no. Think of pressing your chest back towards your thighs. Now, as I said, we can go into puppy pose from down dog. So you can stay in down dog here. Or if you want to go to the pose we were just in, start to work yourself forward, sliding. And you're going to bring your forearms and then your chest. And then there you are in puppy. That's another option for 4, 3, 2, knees down on the 1, hands underneath the shoulders, press yourself back, down dog. So that's another option in getting to your puppy pose. It's all about taking your time, holding the navel into the spine. It takes a lot of strength to go into those poses from down dog, so those are other options. Take one more deep breath. One more exhale. On your next inhale, shift forward to a high plank and hold. Make sure on your high plank, your shoulders are over your wrists. Shift yourself forward 1 inch if not. Make sure your heels are over the balls of the feet. Take a breath in, and we're going to slowly lower for 4, all the way to the belly. 3, knees can be down. 2, belly on the 1. We're going to do a little bit of shoulder opener. Untuck the toes if they're tucked. We're going to start with a supine scorpion pose, which will lead you into a nice shoulder opener if you want to continue to go deeper. So take your left hand and take it nice and long. Feet are flat on the mat to start. If you want, you can have a block or something to rest your head on, or a pillow. Take your right hand, and it's going to go underneath the right shoulder for support. Bend your right knee, and then lift the knee up and find scorpion pose. So this is reclined scorpion. Left arm's long, make sure it's in alignment, palm is down. And start to try and kick your foot towards your left hand. Now, if you want to go further, keep that arm long. Gaze goes over to the right and start to kick over. That shoulder is going to start to get a nice opener. This is where you can put a block underneath your head. Feel your shoulder open, pressing away with the right hand. Maybe you can go all the way. Or maybe you go all the way over onto your back. Glutes come down. Wherever you are, feel your shoulder opening. Your right hand can either be underneath that right shoulder still, or maybe you're opening it up and trying to reach back. So you might just be in the supine scorpion pose, or you might have gone all the way into this crocodile pose, which is more of the shoulder opener with it. Breathe here. Again, make sure that left palm is face down and stays in alignment with the shoulder. Finding flexibility through the shoulders. They get super tight. Go ahead and roll back over if you're rolled. Meet me flat on your back or on your belly. We're going to move into the other side. This time, right arm is long. As you gaze over it, make sure the hands are in alignment with the shoulder. Palm is down. Right cheek to mat to start. Bend the left knee. This is where you'll start to kick the left knee in the air and point the toe for scorpion. Get a nice little back bend, little twist. Right arm's in alignment. Left hand starts to press away. And if you want to find that nice shoulder opener, continue to roll. Press yourself away. Just make sure that right arm doesn't slide away, up or down. If you want, you can put a pillow or a block underneath your shin or your chin, cheek. This left leg might meet the mat. You continue to roll open. If you can go all the way onto your back. That's where you want to be eventually. Whereas if you keep doing these flexibility yogas, you can get there. Just takes time. Remember to breathe. Right palm is still on the mat. Right arm is long and in alignment with the shoulder. 2 more breaths. Nice and deep. Whatever layer you're in. Good. Slowly coming back to your belly, wherever you are. Rolling back over. If you have a block or a pillow, move that out of the way. Bring your palms underneath your shoulders, tuck the toes, press yourselves up and back, child's pose. Nice child's pose, knees are wide, toes to touch, hips to heels, forehead rests on the mat. 2 deep breaths. Feel low back release after we were doing twists. And exhale. Inhale, shift back forward to all fours. Coming up onto the knees, moving into camel pose. Camel pose, your options are here. You can have a block if you'd like. We're going to slight back bend here. Take your hands and come to your low back. You can have the toes tucked if you'd like. And you're pressing your hips forward with your hands. My elbows are going to want to flare out to the sides. Squeeze your elbows together best you can. Pressing the hips forward. Open the front body. So elongate and go back. Gaze goes up. Maybe you stay here. Might get a little snap, crackle, pop. If you want to go a little lower, this is where you can have a block behind you, between your legs, and go here. Or you can go to your heels. And let the head fall back. Just remember, you always want to be breathing in camel pose. This is a front body opener, flexibility through the spine. If you're on your balls of your feet, next layer is to come to the tops of the feet. And then maybe even take your hands to the mat. You might feel restricted in your neck. That's pressing on the thyroid, which is really good for your thyroid. Breathing. Exhaling. We're going to start to come up wherever you are. Come to your low back first and press yourself forward. Bring your hands down, all fours, tuck the toes. Hips go up and back, down dog, feel the release. If down dog's too much, go to a child's pose. Take a nice deep breath in. Nice exhale out. Good. Bring your knees back down to the mat. Nice job. Moving your blocks out of the way. Go ahead and sit back. Bring your big toe, or bring the bottoms of your feet together like we did for butterfly or recline cobblers. We're gonna have the feet together. Same thing we did at the beginning of class. Remember to think of pushing your chest forward. I want you to go back through the motions we did before. Start to pull yourself forward. See how much your hips have opened and your low back is opened. Make sure we're not arching, we're pulling. Again, the further your feet are from you, a little bit easier it's gonna be to get forward. So maybe you slowly bring them in as you're working on flexibility. Pulling yourself down and forward. Once you can get your chest towards your feet, that's when you can let the head rest. Find 2 more breaths. And exhale them out. 1 more deep breath. Staying for your exhale. Coming up slowly if you're down. Take your hands to the outside of your knees. Fold them together like a book. Bring yourself nice and wide as we did at the beginning of class. Feet are wide. Just see how your hips are feeling. Flex the toes. We did this at the beginning. I want to see how much more open you are now. Toes are flexing toward the face. Walk yourself forward. Remember, the spine stays long. So think of your shoulders down and back. Chest is pressing forward. Always think of your chest coming to the floor first. We don't want to think of trying to get the head down and arch the spine. Spine always long and straight. And then come forward to your layer. Only time your face or head should be towards the mat is once your chest or torso are there. Remember to keep the feet flexed. That's going to help you protect the knees and get a better flex. See if you can go a little deeper on your exhales. And I want you to start taking note of how your body feels now compared to the beginning of class. Do you feel more open in your hips? If you're down, slowly begin to come up. Bring your feet together, bend the knees. Feet are flat on the mat. Sit up nice and tall. This time I do want you to arch the spine, chin to chest, and slowly roll all the way down onto your back, one vertebrae at a time. Slow as you can, letting your head be the last thing to come down. Good. Staying here, bring both knees into the chest. We did happy baby earlier. Take both feet, grab for the bottoms. If those aren't accessible, grab for your ankles or behind the thighs. And rock left to right. Again, if you'd like to stretch one leg and straighten, then the other. Feeling good on the backs of your legs. Pull down on the feet. Keep the tailbone rolling down. Good, release the feet. Straighten both legs towards the sky. Roll out the ankles. Now bend your right knee in towards your chest. You can grab for behind the thigh or the front of the shin. Let the left leg go long onto the mat. Big breath in. On the exhale, supine twist. Bring the right knee over to the left side. As you're here, make sure the right shoulder stays down. If the right shoulder rolls up, we're not going to get the supine twist. If you can keep your knee down and your shoulder down, allow yourself to rest and twist. If your shoulder comes up, only let the knee go as far as you can with that shoulder down. Gaze is off to the right. Breathe. If you want an even bigger stretch, you can straighten the right leg and grab it with the left hand. Lots of options. Good. On your next inhale, slowly unwinding. Come back through center. Both knees in. Straighten the legs up to the ceiling. Roll out the ankles. This time, bend the left knee in towards the armpit. Start to straighten the right leg down. And then pull the left knee over to the right side body. Twisting again, gaze to the left. Keep that left shoulder down. The minute it starts to lift, don't let the knee fall any deeper. You can get both down, that's great. If you want to straighten that left leg and grab with the right foot. One more big breath. Staying on the exhale. Release the foot, come back through center. Roll onto your back. Bring both knees in. Squeeze them tight. Keep the back of the head on the mat. Take a big breath. And on the exhale, release to Shavasana pose, the most important pose of your class. This is where the muscles begin to release and relax after everything you put them through. Muscle memory is made. Lactic acid begins to dissipate as our body's in complete relaxation. Notice if you're clenching your jaw or pressing your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Release all that. Notice if you're crunching through your face. Let your feet fall out naturally. I'll bring you back in just a minute or two. I want you to take this time and space to enjoy. You're of course welcome to stay in Shavasana as long as you feel. But if you're ready to come back, begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Massage your head left to right on the back of it, onto your mat. Rolling out your ankles and your wrists. When you're ready, bring your arms up overhead and stretch your body apart in opposition as your toes reach for one way as the hands go the other. Feel your body at the midline pull apart. Take a big breath here. Fill your body with oxygen. And exhale and release. When you're ready, roll onto your left or right side. Keeping your eyes closed, slowly push yourself up to a seated position. Hands together at heart center. Be grateful to yourselves for showing up. Be grateful for the physical body connecting with the mind. Getting into deep stretches, openings. Find gratitude. Bring your thumbs up to third eye center, space of intuition and open-mindedness. Open-minded with ourselves, open-minded to one another. Bowing forward. Namaste.